break. It gives you the lock on that extension. Up here. This is the back, or sometimes known as the spine. And obviously this is the front curve. Generally held low in front of the body with the tip and edge forward, you'll always have the curve facing up. So there's the front curve. Part is the front curve, and this part is the back curve. Obviously this is the tip. Okay, the handle has two parts. The base of the handle and the length of the handle. So when you grip it, your optimum position is to cover the entire length of the handle. But most of your operation is going to occur here at the base. Okay? So one more little usage for this break at the top is your thumb can be placed on the top of it. So two positions are the finger break, which is an extension, and on retraction, the thumb can be placed on the top. And we'll get into that in a second when we talk about grips. There are several grips in which the karambit can be held. One of the oldest ways, the ancient method, is the baby finger goes down and you grab the full length of the grip and you're fighting with the top edge and the tip forward. This was more like the claret, or the older battlefield style. Thumb could be to the side or thumb could be to the top. The modern method was later developed where the finger goes into the top and full grip around the length of the handle. The two positions with the blade low, or they call retracted, is the thumb can be on top, securing, using the break to secure it to the hand. This is a very solid and a lot of friction in this type of grip, so it stays in your hand well, even if you're sweating. The other thumb position in this grip is thumb can be on the fingers as opposed to the top. So these two positions again are, the first one is on the break, and the second one is thumb on the fingers. If you're extended, there are also two positions. One is the thumb ends up on the cam or the turning part, or the thumb can end up on the fingers. I'm going to move it to the side here so you can see. The thumb can be on the ring, or the thumb can be on the fingers. There are advantages and disadvantages to each. However, we're going to be working predominantly with the thumb on the ring. Okay, so there are two basic positions. The first one is retracted, whether the thumb is on top or the thumb is on the side. And the second one is extended, whether the thumb is on the top or the thumb is on the side. There are also hand positions that play a very important role in how the karambit is operated. These hand positions are as follows. The first one is palm down. Any strike or cut or thrust can be handled from the palm down position. The second of these is the palm up position. Same thing, slash or thrust can be executed from the palm up position. And usually from a ready position, it is in a vertical. So again, you have palm down, palm up, or in the vertical position. Just as a reminder, all these techniques we're going to get into and the handling and the operation of the karambit, you always want to work with a trainer. It's always the case where whenever you're working with your training partner or you're training by yourself, to never use a real live cutting edge. Always use a trainer during the time when you're operating. And another point before we get into this is that the karambit is very often referred to as the backup weapon. It's the last line of defense. In other words, you're on the battlefield, your sword gives out, your spear's gone, and you're engaged in this combative element, and you have nothing left. This is your backup tool. This is what's your last defense, last line of defense. It's carried as a companion, much like the wakizashi with the katana, or the dirk or dagger with the basket hilt, say, for example, in ancient Europe. So the karambit, a personal defense tool, a backup tool, and again, only used for self-defense. There are different postures of the body that are used in conjunction with the grips and the hand positions. The first one is standing on a strong stance what is called kuda kuda. Kuda kuda means a horse or a strong stance. So normally when we walk as humans, we step forward, opposite hand, opposite foot. You hardly ever see anybody walk down the street foot and hand together like this. Right? So when we walk, it's opposite foot, opposite hand. So the same thing applies in a natural position as you're walking. From where you start, lower your body a little bit and raise both hands. And that is your starting position, or what they call kuda kuda, the horse or strong stance. Notice that it's just as easy as walking and dropping your weight, going into combative posture. The blade ends up being in your center line, the tip forward, and the edge down and away from your body. Both hands are up in your center. It's known as kuda kuda. Another basic position is if you end up dropping to the ground and you assume the harimau position, which is a three-point stance. You have the knee, you have the rear foot, and you have the front foot. In this three-point stance, known as the harimau, it's the same position as you were walking, except that you've lowered now even further, lower than the kuda kuda, to the harimau, where you keep the blade, same exact position in the center, edge forward, tip up in the middle. There is also another one, if you go a little bit further, called duduk. Duduk is to sit in a sitting posture. It's the same exact position. The blade is forward, the edge is down and away, and the tip is facing your center line. You always want to keep in mind to keep the edge and tip as far out from your body. You don't want to come in and cover your own hand. You want to keep it away from your body. So those positions, again, are from natural walking position, as you're walking forward, lower your weight into kuda kuda. One more elevation change down, you're in harimau, strong three-point kneeling stance. One more elevation change, you're down in duduk, or sitting posture, with the edge down and forward and away from your body. One of the most important elements to stances is that they are not static, they are not stationary. When you're in movement, again, as we walk naturally, nonchalantly, we find a position where we need to go into a combative posture. We lower the body weight so it's evenly distributed over, slightly forward, and we keep the edge and tip down and forward in front of our bodies. If we need to ambulate, if there's a forward motion, you can easily step into that position from where you were. Same thing if you need to go backwards. This is moving with the footwork from kuda kuda. If we go back to the kneeling, there are two different types of kneeling. Remember, we talked about the first one, which was the harimau, and the second one, which was anaharimau, or the lower form of kneeling. Very similar to the Japanese seiza method, and I'll demonstrate that. Seiza kneeling, or in the Japanese tradition, is forward motion with the hips low to the ground. A little bit different in the Indonesian version. That is, from the harimau, your movement comes down with the knee. So the knee drops first, your weight stays forward, then you shift your weight to establish the secondary three-point stance. Same thing applies for if you're moving backwards. You keep the same weight distribution and you use the knee as a support as you come down. So again, the knee comes down first, your weight pulls forward, shift, so your other side equals. Then when you move down again, knee and up. Same thing applies to sitting posture. In the duduk, when you come